Do you have it pulled up?
That's what I'm working on.
Hey, Leafier, how's it going?
Start your stream.
We're just getting settled here. And there's Elenita. Hopefully the weather is well down in Puerto Rico.
No, you're fine. Did you want to put the mic on?
No, we don't usually do that.
Oh, we don't do it on the live stream?
No. Remember, because we couldn't get it to work.
Oh, okay. Okay. Turn this on.
Really? It hasn't rained here and I mean, I guess it kind of sprinkled last week, but it didn't really like rain, but it's supposed to snow soon, so that sucks. Look good to you?
Just look. I want to see if there's glasses.
No, not really. I have to turn like this way.
Oh, no, it's fine. I don't see nothing.
Okay.
Goodbye.
Goodbye. Keep it pulled up.
Do what?
Keep it pulled up. I don't know.
You want me to go upstairs and pull it up? I need my beer.
There's Wes. It's nice to know that I'm not the only one not watching the Super Bowl.
What's wrong with one?
I know, I saw you had it on. Well, just crack the door. I left my drink in the freezer and it froze it solid. So I'm kind of waiting on it to thaw a little bit. How has everyone's week been? I guess it's been a couple of weeks since I did a live stream, but you know, I didn't actually plan on doing it on the Super Bowl, but I just, when I plan these things, I don't really think about stuff like that, especially since I wasn't going to watch it, so. Ugh. I'm trying to get more comfortable here. There we go. Your recent video about meeting your friend pushed me over the edge. Well, how did it push you over the edge? Did you have to go buy one, Leafier? I've currently got mine, I'll get it down later, but I've currently got mine up in my little terrarium up here. I've got 4 plants in there at the moment, and one of them is that maidenhair fern. I've also got, I've got a rabbit's foot fern in there, I've got a begonia in there, and I've got the cutting of an anthurium, which, I don't know, I'm just not really a fan of anthuriums. I might end up just giving it away, but maybe if it sprouts a new leaf, I'll keep it, but yeah. Yeah, maidenhair ferns are really beautiful, but hopefully... The only problem I'm having with the terrarium right now is that I know that some of those plants are going to get a lot bigger, and then once they get bigger, I mean, you can only get a terrarium that's so big, but I just think that after a while, plants reach a stage where, since they're bigger, they're a little bit hardier. They're not quite as fragile as when they're like juvenile, I guess, if you want to call it that. But ones that are in those little tiny pots, like a 4-inch pot, I mean, that's still pretty small. Oh, okay. Well, then I think you'll be good. How are you keeping it like moist in there at all? Like, or do you just sort of have it in like a terrarium and like it's just kind of enclosed? Does that make sense? Oh, okay. Yeah, that should be fine. Yeah, yeah. I actually had to adjust mine a little bit because the humidity was at like 95%, which isn't like the best necessarily, just because you reach a point where you don't want stuff to start like growing in there. So I kind of scaled it back a little bit, and now it's around like 80 to 85. So I think that's a little bit better. That way it continues to get some ventilation too, just because I have water like standing in there. Like I said, I'll get it down here in a little bit. It's just kind of heavy. And I've got a bunch of plants on the table right now that I'm going to show you guys. I usually just wait a few minutes just to see who might show up. And a couple of these plants I'm actually not sure about. So if we can get like, we'll see if like Christian or Dragonite shows up. Come on. Large, I can see the water level. Oh, okay. Well, good, good. Then you won't have to worry about like drowning it out or anything like that. I'll dehydrate by the time that thing thaws. Merlin. Hi, Merles. Actually, I forget who it was that was talking about more succulents. I don't remember if it was you, Leaf Year. It may actually have been, there's somebody else named Ricky, and he likes succulents a lot. I did actually find a succulent that I haven't covered on the channel yet, and I honestly don't know much about it, but we'll see. We'll see if you guys have seen it before. I actually don't know if it's supposed to look the way it does right now. I'm kind of looking at it. I'm like, oof, it's kind of weird looking. Okay, then have you heard of it's called a Corpusulacaria. Not to be confused with Portulacaria. Oh no, that's okay. It's just, it's here. This is what it looks like. It's kind of a bizarre little succulent. It kind of has the shape of lithops on top, but it's also reminiscent a little bit of Lampranthus in the way the leaves are growing like that. These are obviously just a lot bigger and like more succulent than Lampranthus. And they kind of wrinkle on the bottom. Now, I don't know if that's because this one just wasn't being taken care of and it just needs water. I mean, it is pretty dry and it is pretty root bound too. But it's got some new growth coming in on the bottoms. And I don't know, I just wanted to kind of get it and see what happens with it. If I had to guess what family this was in, I would probably say Azoiaceae. I don't know that for sure. I'd have to look it up. But just because I know Azoiaceae has a few of the bizarre succulents in it, and I thought for sure that Lampranthus was an Azoiaceae, so I thought maybe this one would be too. But I don't have my other phone on me to look that up. I guess I could look it up on the laptop. Actually, maybe I'll just do that real quick. I'll just pop open a new tab here. Corpusulacaria. Oh, I must have spelled it wrong. Come on. Corpusulacaria. Also called the ice plant, and oh, hang on. Where's just like Wikipedia? Where's just like a basic explanation when you need it? Oh, wait. Too bad my screen isn't touchscreen. Okay, yeah, it looks like it is in Azoiaceae, but Wikipedia is calling it Delosperma, which, I mean, Delosperma is another genus of like succulents, but it's not saying anything about how it was called Corpusulacaria, unless this is outdated. Let's just look up ice plant. Ice plant succulents. See, the problem with, yeah, Wikipedia, it's hit and miss sometimes. Um, and then the problem when you type in the common name is that a lot of these other websites, they won't use the scientific name, and that's kind of what we're trying to track down. Well, maybe I won't do a video on it because now I'm struggling to find that name. And if it's Delosperma, well, I already did Delosperma. Of course, the Delosperma I did looked really different from this. It was like the little pickle. They look like little pickles. Or if anyone's ever lived in like the country or like you've been hiking out in the woods and you get those little spiky things on you. Cockle blurs is what we always call them, but I don't know what they actually are. Is that Dragonite spam? It is. It's a video on the completely unrelated plants that go by the same common name. You could. I mean, who was it? Christian was talking the other day about arrowhead plant. Like how many plants go by arrowhead, and I mean Sangonium is the one we think of with house plants, but I mean Aurum, which I think is a group of lilies, and then there is another one that grows semi-aquatically. I think it's called Sagittaria. I think that sounds right because some species of Sagittaria are aquatic. But yeah, exactly. I mean, what are the true lilies? Because peace lily is not a lily, right? It's an aroid. Um, I'm trying to think. What is the one? I don't know. I can't think of all the different plants that are called lily because there's so many. How are you doing, Dragonite? It's been a while. Corpus, corpuscularia. I think I'm pronouncing it wrong. Haha, haha. Now I'm getting someplace because I was spelling it wrong. Corpuscularia laminii, or ice plant, is a member of the Azoaceae family due to its unique and beautiful look, which includes diamond shapes, daisy-like yellow or purple blooms that open in the spring or winter, and the fact that they are easy to maintain. Well, of course, they're succulents. Okay, well, now we've solved that problem. Well, it wasn't a problem, but... Yeah, there's a bunch of plants that go by palm, too, that are not palms, which is annoying, but... You're sleepy. What time did you wake up? It is still frozen. I can't get it to thaw. Like, I just want to drink it, but it's frozen. Well, we can go ahead. I can go ahead and start showing you guys some of the plants I've gotten recently. Because sometimes I'll pick stuff up that just seems like interesting or unique just to kind of give it a try. And also, sometimes I just like showing you guys other plants you may not have seen before. So what we were just talking about is this corpuscularia, which I guess is also called an ice plant. It's just kind of an interesting succulent that apparently gets kind of wrinkled as it goes down. I don't know if it's supposed to get wrinkled or if this one just desperately needs water, but I'm gonna repot it tonight probably and just give it a good drink. I actually need to water anyway because it's been about a week and a half. Oh, you got an early spring leaf year? Well, that must be nice because it's supposed to snow here in like 2 days. Not looking forward to that. I'm kind of over winter myself, but yeah. I did also find for this is called a polished and pinstripes cordyline. And we covered cordyline a long time ago. Most of the time when you see cordyline, it's the purple. They're like this shape, but they're purple. Sometimes they're a little on the pink side. And they're just a plant that needs a lot of light. You don't see them a lot just because they do need so much light. They're also called Thai plants. I think there's some of them that are native to Hawaii, if not all of them. But this one I thought was just gorgeous. I've never seen it before. And it just, if you can see the coloration on some of these leaves, it has stripes of like reddish burgundy in it, as well as these kind of golden stripes. I just think that's amazing. And even the stems kind of have this outline of white on them, which is, I don't know, it's just really impressive to me. And I mean, for what was it, like $6? For $6, you can't like beat that. Now, if I can just keep it going, I mean, I can give it plenty of light, but sometimes they can be a little finicky with watering too. And if they're not getting proper watering or humidity, they'll start to like drop their bottom leaves, which a lot of plants drop their bottom leaves naturally, but I mean, this will be like an unnatural drop. Like you'll start to see several of them drop at once if you're not keeping them properly hydrated. So, yeah, pretty cool though. I mean, I wonder too, when this gets a little bit bigger, I wonder if the leaves will still maintain their same variegation. Because there's certain plants like the pink princess philodendron and the white knight philodendron, as they age, they stop having as much variegation. So that can be like, I don't know, a little disappointing. Elena says, I just got the chocolate cordyline. I don't think I've seen that one, but I've heard of it. I don't think I've actually seen it in person. I've seen the cordyline mini-me, which I think is the one I used in the video, which is just kind of a dwarf version of cordyline. And the purple one, but I haven't seen the chocolate one. Oh, Nat. I would have to name that plant Coraline. Yeah. Every time I say it, it makes me think of that movie just because that's one of Wes's favorite movies, Coraline. It was a really good movie too. What else do I have here? I picked up this, and I was kind of on the fence about it, but sometimes I pick up stuff because it's like different or unique, and I sort of buy it, and I don't know. I just have a bad habit of doing that. Elenia says she has the compacta, the red sister, and the kiwi. And you live in the perfect place to grow cordyline just because of the high humidity and everything. Like that, you could almost just leave them outside. I'm so jealous. This one, like, this is basically a string of pearls, but this one is actually listed as a string of raindrops, which I thought was kind of a cool name. And if you get kind of a closer look, these are actually a little more oblong than string of pearls, hence the name string of raindrops. But this one is also flowering, which these are not that difficult to get to flower, and oftentimes when I see them sold in stores, they already are flowering. It almost looks like a dandelion. Not a dandelion, but it's close. Dragonite says, I would have suggested string of green beans, but I guess raindrops is better branding. I thought there was a succulent called string of beans. Or am I crazy? String of dolphins, string of turtles, string of hearts, string of frogs. String of beans? I mean, there's string beans, right? That'd be kind of a witty plant name. Now see, as soon as I get, I think you guys can send me stuff on Instagram, or am I wrong? Anyway, when I get something up and going and you guys can start sending me pictures, I would love to see that jungle garden you're talking about. Senecio Herilanus. Oh, string of bananas. That's the one I forgot. I knew there was one that I was missing. It's listed as Senecio, but then I've also heard it's in Curio, which may have been something we talked about at some point in the past in another video. Because Senecio and Curio, there's a lot of overlap between those two genera, and I thought a chunk of species got moved into Curio. I don't know. String of hooks? I haven't heard of that one, actually. Now I'm curious. Leaf here, I don't have a ton of experience with Instagram, but I'm trying to get into it a little bit more just because it's supposed to be really accessible. But let's look up a string of hooks real quick because I want to see it. String of hooks plants. Fish hooks Senecio. Oh, okay. It almost looks like string of bananas, but it's more of a pronounced shape to it. Or it could be another name. Who was I talking about that with? We just did the taxonomy video yesterday, and I was commenting with somebody about how places have started like changing the names of things when things are just slightly different, I guess to try to make more sales or to make you think you're getting something different. And that can be so frustrating. And I've noticed recently that there are literally dozens of species, or not species, but dozens of variations of Epipremnum. And I remember when there was only like 5 or 6 like major ones, and now it seems like once every couple of months there'll be a new one that comes out. And I'm just like, okay, but I mean, how stable is the variegation in some of these things? And you buy the plant and it looks a certain way. Is it going to still look that way in 6 months, or is it just sort of like that temporarily? Like, I don't know. Yeah, yeah, well, I mean, they could be underwater. That could be it. Dragonite says, yeah, yeah, most of the Epipremnum variants, specifically Epipremnum aureum, they're just variants on Marble Queen. And Marble Queen's like the original. Well, I mean, would Golden be the original technically? But anyway, like most of them are variations on Marble Queen. I don't think they do exist in nature. That's just something that we've cultivated. Like because it's a mutation, like that's not contributing to photosynthesis. I feel like in nature, plants just get rid of that stuff. Like they that's why they say if you have a really variegated plant and you see a reverted like piece come in, you're supposed to cut it out so that the plant doesn't try to revert itself, because that's like what it wants to do. These are really cold. I just touched them. They're like, damn. While we're talking about Epipremnum, let me move this out of the way. I don't know if I'm going to keep that string of raindrops. Like, I almost bought it just for the name. And I've heard that they can also be called String of Tears, which is like depressing. I'm like, oh, I don't know. Now I don't know if I want it. So I found this, and it looks kind of like a jade pothos, right? Pothos, whatever, like jade epipremnum. Um, and it's actually called a greengula, and I'm going to show you guys the tag um, right there. And it's supposed to be just like a reverted mandula, I think. And if we kind of look at some of the bigger leaves on it, they are not quite shaped like a normal epipremnum. They are a little bit thicker and rounder, which is like a trademark mandula shape. This one, excuse me, this one obviously just doesn't have any variegation on it. I think there was one leaf that you could kind of see where there was just a little bit of kind of a little bit of variegation on it. And I bought it because I'm like, well, I've never heard of it before. And it's so big and full, and like, I love when plants are big and full like this. But I'm just like, I just don't know. Do I love it? Like, is this really something I want to keep? I just don't know. But I wasn't sure if you guys had seen this one yet, because I think it's kind of new-ish. But I also noticed that some of the lower leaves are like getting yellow spots on them. And I don't know if that's a result of like the loss of variegation, or if it's just like going to start dropping these leaves soon. But there are quite a few of them. I don't think it's any sort of infection necessarily, but I don't know. I just don't know. Sometimes I just get buyer's remorse when I buy certain things. Dragonite says the tears come in when you try to keep Senecio from shedding its leaves. Yeah. Well, especially, well, maybe not even Senecio, but like Ceropegia. Like, I have horrible luck with Ceropegia just because, I don't know, those are just kind of hard to keep healthy. Yeah, thank you, Leafier. Yeah, it is really nice, but I just don't know. And honestly, like I've noticed with my personal experience with some of these epipremnum varieties is that they, after a while, I just feel like they start not doing as well, or they start having growth that isn't quite what it was when you bought it. And I've noticed that a little bit. I don't know. I don't know. You know what? This other thing is, though, about this, it's got really big aerial roots on it. Can you guys see that? It looks like a rabbit's foot, almost. Like, it's fuzzy right there, like a rabbit's foot. So, I don't know. It seems like it's a pretty healthy, aggressive grower. So, I'm kind of tempted to keep it, but... Oh, that one's kind of variegated right there, too. Yeah, Leaf Year, I'll just send you a little present here. So here's an example of what I'm talking about. Like that leaf coming in right there, how it already has like some weird like scarring on it, and like it's even kind of a hole right there. And that could have been several things. That could have been damage in shipping. It could have been like cold damage or like moisture damage if it was pressed up against part of the box. But I don't know. I guess we'll see. Eventually, I'm going to upload pictures of all my plants, like individually, to Instagram so you guys can start getting a closer look. Because I keep saying I'm going to make this plant tour video, and I still haven't done it because I've had kind of a revolving door recently of plants that I've been getting. I don't know if you guys have been plant shopping recently, but there have been a lot of places that have been getting massive shipments. It's been kind of crazy. Dragonite says he puts his money on the physical damage. Usually if mine get like that, it's because I was being rough when moving them around. Well, and especially like the new leaves coming in like that. The new leaves are so like delicate and prone to getting messed up like that. And if you have a plant that has spider mites, I mean the spider mites just eat that alive. Like they can just pierce that soft, really soft leaf so easily, so... I know I got a huge shipment in at Walmart, about a week ago, maybe like 5 or 6 days ago, and I saw some things that I've never seen come through there before, And Lowe's, I was just at Lowe's. I literally got home 10 minutes before the stream started because they got in a big shipment and they had so many different plants. I've never seen them have so many plants before. So I don't know if certain companies are just like, hell yeah, we're just gonna send them as much as we can or what. Home Depot had a whole bunch as well. And Home Depot has a brand, it's called, that's where I got this one from. It's called Proven Winners. And I think in the past, Proven Winners was more just for like outdoor stuff. And I don't know, I feel like they've branched into houseplants and they have some pretty cool varieties. So I don't know, I guess Home Depot has a license with them or something because I don't see Proven Winners at Lowe's, but I don't see Costa Farms plants at Home Depot. So I don't know. Dragonite says I have a million pots with Proven Winners on them, and that originally contained shrubbery. Yeah, yeah. In the past when I've seen Proven Winners, it was always like rose bushes and shrubs and like trees and things like that. It was never house plants. But I mean, there's not that many big companies that produce house plants, so if they've got the money to do it. What else do I have here that I can show you guys? Oh, Hoya lovers, if you guys love Hoyas, this was another one by Proven Winners that I bought, and it's called Misty Morning. I'm not sure of the species name, but if we can kind of get a closer look at it, it has that kind of a lighter green and these beautiful little dots of dark green on it. I don't know if the camera is actually doing that justice, but yeah, you can kind of see the dots on it. There, I'll just cover my whole face. But it's beautiful. Like, to me, that is just, it's so subtle and just so pretty that I don't even really like Hoyas that much, but I went ahead and grabbed this one because I'm like, wow, I don't know. You just don't see plants with that kind of coloring on them very much. And I've had such good luck with my Obovata, which is right there, which I love my Obovata. I hope it flowers again. I just thought, well, I'll give one of these a try. And some of the leaves have a little bit of damage on them, but it's okay. Again, it was literally like $6. I will buy a plant that looks like this for $6. Leafier says, for some reason, I've never been tempted to buy a Hoya. It would take a very special one to convert me. I was the same way. I just felt like I kept seeing the same Hoya over and over again, and none of them really impressed me. And then I finally saw the Obovata, and I'm like, wow, that's really pretty. And the leaves are extremely succulent to the point where they have like no give to them at all. Like you can squeeze them just a little bit and they won't move. And then it flowered, and then I was in love with it because I did not expect it to flower. So then I ended up buying this other Hoya, which is right there. And it's a shooting star Hoya is what they call it. And I think it's Hoya multiflora. It's had the flower buds on it for like 3 weeks and they still haven't bloomed. And I've started to lose a couple. So I'm just like, what is going on with it? It needs to just bloom before it loses all of its flowers. I'm gonna grab it right now, actually. Okay. Well, there's a yellow leaf that we're gonna pluck off. Come off of there. So the flower blooms are right there, and you can see they are getting big and they're starting to spread out like they want to flower, like they want to, bloom, and they just still haven't done it. And I hope it does it because, I don't know, it's still kind of moist too, which is surprising. I haven't watered this in like a week and a half. So I'm thinking I might need to actually, at some point, put this in like a little bit more of a well-draining mix because Hoya don't really like to be in moisture for very long. So I'm getting a little concerned about that. Hoya don't really like their roots messed with either. But it doesn't smell like there's any, do you guys ever smell soil? Just, because if it smells like rot, that's a problem. But that's just one of your 5 senses, right? It smells like dirt. It doesn't smell like there's anything wrong with it, so I don't know. You just need to flower. please, flower. I really want to see it. And yeah, Leafier, the flowers, they smell really good, but they're very subtle. And what I mean by that is if you've ever smelled a gardenia, it's very overpowering, even though it smells good. But these smell good, but it's not like so much that you are overwhelmed by it, I guess. Like you won't be able to smell it in your house. But if you get like a jasmine or a gardenia or something, like you can sit it on the counter and you'll smell it when you come in the room because it's just so fragrant. I mean, flowers smell to attract things, so it makes sense. Well, Dragonite, if you ever decide to get a Hoya, I would recommend the Obovata, but that's just me. I'm going to put that back. Okay. Um, let's see, one other plant that I've gotten recently, and I got this one at Walmart. And I'm kind of surprised that I found something like this. I have no idea what philodendron this is. Now, I found a couple of options of what it could be, but it's definitely a philodendron, and it definitely has big leaves. It's a decently healthy looking plant, and there wasn't really any damage to the leaves or anything. I just, if anybody out there is a philodendron lover, if you have some suggestions. But when I typed in what it could be, it came up with a name that started with an S, the species name that is, and I should have written it down. Have I ever used software? I haven't used those two. Maybe I'll look into that. Well, the one I was using was called, what was it called? The problem with a lot of those is you have to pay for them to get like the full use of them. But the one I was using, like you said, it's better with flowers because flowers have more specific structures that make them more identifiable, which is why that was used for so long for taxonomy because flowers, you can tell so much about a plant by its flower. But when it's just foliage, if I scan a Dieffenbachia and it's a Dieffenbachia that's mostly green, it might tell me it's a spathiphyllum. It's like, okay, but it's not a spathiphyllum. And I've tried that with several other things. If I scanned, what's a plant that kind of looks like this? Like Ficus umbellata has leaves that are kind of big like this. I could scan this and it'll try to tell me it's a ficus or something like that. No, the technology is not sophisticated enough yet to be able to do that. Unfortunately, I mean, which is kind of surprising with AI and everything. You would think that by now we'd have some pretty good plant apps to identify things a little bit more reliably, but no. Actually, while we're here, I'm gonna type in what I searched for and see if it comes back up. Philodendron. Let's see. I mean, the brandii, I think that's how you say it. It has leaves similar to this, but they're much, much, much smaller. And they actually have a lot more silver on them, and it trails. This one's going to be more of a climber. Silver sword. I mean, silver sword philodendrons are really pretty. But I am not seeing, I swear I saw the exact leaf I was looking for the other day. Oh, wait. This might be it right here. Yeah, maybe. There. Sorry, Sodri. No, wait, hang on. Sodiroi? Hang on, I'll type it. Let me type it in. Sodiroi. There. That's what I found of what it could be. Sodiroi. Species names are such a mess trying to pronounce them. It doesn't help that I've been learning Spanish, so certain words like that, if they start to look Spanish, I start to try to pronounce it like you would if you were speaking Spanish. But I've never even heard of it, so. And of course, the tag doesn't say anything. It says fancy philodendron. Well, okay, that's not really specific enough. This will be, because I'm probably going to keep this, this will be my third philodendron. I have a long leaf, I forget, a Tabapoense, I think is the species name. And then I also have a heartleaf, just a regular green heartleaf philodendron. Philodendron are like kind of addicting because there's so many cool philodendrons out there. Like at Lowe's tonight, they had a philodendron tortum, which is very skeletal looking. Like the leaves aren't really big, but they're just very like, it's almost like the only part of the leaf is the venation. So it actually looks really neat, but yeah. Congo Rojo is a really good one. Hey, Esquiru. How are you doing? Looking at the picture on Google Images, I say that's probably what it is. Yeah, that's what I thought too. Of course, we're assuming that it doesn't go by a couple of different species names, which is very possible. Exactly, Dragonite. Exactly. If you could have a person that's just like, I'm only going to collect philodendrons, and you could have a house full of 50 or 60 philodendrons, and if an average person walked in, they would think that most of them are not related at all, which is kind of crazy. Even just talking about it, I'm like, that Congo Rojo is pretty cool, and the Tortum's really cool, and there was another one I saw recently that had really long leaves. I'm just like, ugh, don't go there. Do not go there. The thing that stops me a lot of the time, oh, Gloriosum, that's another one I really love, Philodendron Gloriosum, but Gloriosum's really tricky because it's not a climber and it's not a trailer, it's one that actually crawls along the ground. And so it's really hard to replicate that without it starting to get kind of weird. I think you can make them climb, but it's not as easy as like a regular philodendron. Well, Leaf here, if you lived here, I just got a shipment of those in very recently. Some of them were really pretty too. Some of them didn't have a lot of variegation on them. It's very hit and miss, but I'm just making sure this doesn't, oh. Hey, how about that? That might be a mealybug. Mealybugs are the ones that move, right? Scale doesn't move. Yeah, I think that might be a mealybug. Maybe that's why that leaf turned yellow. Anyway, see, it's not white and fuzzy though. Like, I thought, see, I know that, well, I think it's just a juvenile and it just hasn't gotten super white and fuzzy yet. Well, whatever. Anyway, Dragonite asked how often does your store restock plants? It's totally random. Like, it really is. I think that they may have some sort of algorithm or something, but with most products in our store, we know how much we have of something. So let's say I have 12 cans of green beans or something, and the system knows that when I get down to 4 cans of green beans, it should probably go ahead and order another case so that I don't ever run out. Um, but with plants, it's different because we don't keep on hands of those things. That's like we don't keep like a proper count. And even if we did, they don't ship them from a warehouse the way that all of our other products get shipped. So we'll get on average maybe one shipment a month, probably. Like the first shipment we got this year was actually just after, well, I say this year, but it was on Christmas Eve, and then the one that just came yesterday, well, not yesterday, it was like 5 days ago. That's been the first one since then. So it's about on average about a month. And then sometimes they'll send us random crap like orchids and tulips. Like we got in a bunch of tulips for Valentine's Day. We'll get in Easter lilies for Easter. We'll get in a little bit of Easter cacti. Which, where are Easter cacti right now? Like what, what genus are those in right now? I think they're in Ripsalidopsis right now, but I've seen them shift around. Hattorii was one of them. They put them in Schlumbergera for a minute, but I think they're Ripsalidopsis. Well, some holiday plants are annoying, which we kind of talked about this before, but some holiday plants are annoying because we we get them in and they're not really indoor plants and people don't realize that. So if you buy a rose bush and it's like a little baby rose bush, you can't keep that inside. Like it needs to be planted outside if you want it to survive when the weather is warm enough, obviously. Oh, did they put it back in Schlumbergera? I honestly have no idea. I knew that they kept going back and forth with it because they are very similar, but like Easter cacti leaves are noticeably different from the other ones. But I mean like that doesn't mean it can't be in Schlumbergera. I like the name Ripsalidopsis better, but I mean it's whatever. Hey Stargazer, yeah, I've been trying to do one every couple of weeks, and it's been 2 weeks since I did the last one. I posted a short about it, but I never know like how far out in advance to post a short so that you guys have time to maybe be able to join me or plan. But also, Dragonite, when you said earlier about orchids and cacti on Monstera, I, I really I really didn't realize that there were so many species of Monstera. I think there's way more of philodendron still, but I've seen more Monsteras popping up recently. Wikipedia says Ripsalidopsis gayertoni, Schlumberger gayertoni, or Hatiora, or Hatiora, yeah, which I've never heard of, all synonyms, which is not helped by the fact that all of the holiday cacti have a billion hybrids. Yeah, well, you know, now we're getting into, why sometimes species don't matter. That was you I was talking about that with, I think, wasn't it? No, maybe that was somebody else. And the thing is, all of those hybrids are man-made. I mean, just because holiday cacti became such a popular thing that we started trying to create more and more for specific colors and specific shapes. And I'm like, you have all these colors. Where's the blue one? Give me a blue Christmas cactus. That's what I want. I think blue flowers are beautiful, and you just don't see them very much. No, I don't. Oh, that was loud. Maybe it wasn't you then. Like sometimes species have their place for knowing them. Like if you're talking about like ficuses, like we can learn the different ficus species and we can see how different they are from each other. But when you start getting into like orchids and cacti, where or Christmas, cactus, where like there's so many different hybrids and variations, the species just becomes like obsolete. Like it just becomes like not obsolete, arbitrary, because it just doesn't matter. Like if you just know the genus name, you know how to take care of it. But like a Ficus benjamina is going to have a little bit different care from a Ficus elastica, both of which are going to be extremely different from Ficus pumila, which is just very difficult to take care of, although mine's still doing well. Steven says, I had an idea for a video you could do for those that love plants but don't have the time or to dote on them. How about a list of plants that do well in self-watering pots? That's not a bad idea. Um, hmm. Just for fun, let's think for a second. Self-watering pots. Really, really, like, let's say you're super busy, right? And you don't want to have plants where you have to like babysit them. And there are definitely plants where you do have to babysit them. Basically, anything that's a fern, anything that's a calathea or a prayer plant, those are plants that you really have to kind of keep an eye on because they have to be watered more often. They have to have proper humidity, which means you're probably supplementing humidity, which is a whole other thing. So we can go ahead and knock all of those out. Um, you would, I feel like, I mean, I could still make that video, but I'm just thinking out loud. Anything that's like a cactus or a succulent, that's going to be easy because you can just kind of leave it. But of course, that's not going to be in a self-watering pot. I mean, I always tell people too, like, I have people come into work and they're like, I want a plant, but I don't know which one to get and I want it to be easy to care for. I immediately point them to a snake plant. That it's literally the easiest plant you can own, and it's interesting looking. I mean, there's different colors, different types. Some of them are a little more bushy than others. Some of them are very tall, and you can just neglect the hell out of this thing. And as long as it's getting light, that's like the most important thing. As long as you give it light, it'll probably survive. My brother has one, and he's kept his alive for like 5 years. And if my brother can make a plant live, anybody can. But yeah, honestly, to kind of finish that kind of up, I would say the plants that would go best in self-watering pots would be ones that are just kind of, when we talk about our levels of watering, I think a lot that go in self-watering plants would be the ones that are in that third level, where they're not something that needs a lot of moisture and humidity, but it's also not a succulent or a cacti. Like it's just right in the middle. So like Epiprimnum, Philodendron, like all of those common ones, I think those do well in self-watering plant pots because they can just kind of take what they need. They don't need to be fussed with like humidity and stuff. That would be what I would say, but who am I? I'm just one of you guys too, right? Leaf here says he's considering trying a carnivorous plant like pings. Pings stands for pinguicula, and pinguicula is kind of a echeveria looking plant, so it kind of looks like a little rosette, but the leaves are actually sticky, which is very weird. And there are a couple of different types of pinguicula. Some of them are more temperate. They come from like northern climates, and some of them are tropical. They come from more southern climates. And I've been told that they are some of the easier carnivorous plants to take care of. As long as you have a general know-how of what has to be done, uh, they're definitely going to be easier than like Venus flytraps. Venus flytraps are probably the hardest carnivorous plants to take care of. That's my opinion. I don't have a ton of experience with carnivorous plants, but um, I just know I have owned a few in the past. No, 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 Thena. Well, okay, come on. Come here, Thena. Come on, baby. Come here. Come here. You're fine. Why don't you come here? Come lay down. Come lay down. No, they don't want to see your butt. Come on. Come lay down. Okay. Okay. Thank you. Venus flytraps are in the genus I believe it's Dionea. And Dionea is just, I don't know, they're very particular. Dragonite says, he got one and fungus gnats. Yeah. They're picky enough as it is, and the gnats aren't big enough to trip the pads without assistance. Yeah. I mean, they have to actually be like flies or something. Come here. Come here, baby. Oh, there's my beautiful baby. Hi, Dina. Hi, baby. She sees herself on the computer screen, and like she really loves to watch TV. So sometimes I'll turn on like nature shows and stuff, and she's just enthralled by that. Yes, you see your pretty self on that screen, don't you? Okay, lay down though. No, let's not show your butt. Let's be a lady. Um, uh, yeah, so Dionea, definitely not the way to go. Pinguicula is a good beginner one. Nepenthes, which is the pitcher plants that hang, I've heard those are pretty reliable. I've kept those alive. But Sarracenia, which is the pitcher plants that grow right out of the ground, I think those are a little more difficult because you have to be sure that they don't rot. And then what's the other big one? Oh, the sundew plant. And sundew plants, that's in Drosera, I believe. I've never tried a sundew plant. I'd like to because they're really interesting. But I think that we're going to get more into carnivorous plants a little bit once I find a couple that are not super expensive and that I trust myself to watch over carefully. But so far, it's just, they're not readily sold a lot of places. It's kind of hard to find them. Dragonite asks if cats pass the mirror test. I think it probably varies cat to cat. I honestly don't know. I know that some cats don't care, but then some cats do notice themselves in the mirror, so I don't know. I know that, like, sometimes, like, if I'm cuddling with Athena and I want to take, like, a selfie with her, she'll look at the camera. And I don't know how she knows to do that, but she will literally look at the camera. I wish I could show you guys some of the pictures, but she's just such a good little baby. Yeah. She's very spoiled, too. Yes, you are. Very spoiled, aren't you? You're going to make my shirt so hairy. Yes, it's a good girl. What was the other thing I was going to say? I've got one more plant, too, I want to show you guys. This came in, and I'm not going to promise that I'll be able to keep it alive, but maybe you guys have seen it before. I don't know if you guys have seen one of these. Normally when you see them, they're much smaller. Normally they're in like a 4-inch pot, maybe being sold for like $4 or $5. Unless it has changed, this is a Plurendra. And yes, Stargazer Steven gets it. This is in the family Aureliaceae. So some relatives to this plant are going to be Schefflera is probably the most famous one. Also Hedera, like the English ivy, and what's another Aurelia? Fatsia. Fatsia japonica is another Aurelia. Aurelias are not the easiest plants to take care of, actually, just because they're extremely prone to getting spider mites. Most of them need some sort of supplemental humidity, and proper watering is kind of key with Aurelias. They are definitely not as easy as, the aeroids. But this one, I mean, you can just tell by the thin leaves that it's going to need a little more humidity, and it's going to need to be watered properly. Probably not let the soil ever really dry out. But yeah. Hi, Serena. Thank you for joining us. We're just kind of talking about random plants right now. I do love the dark green leaves on this, so that makes me think that this probably won't need as much light, but I'm still gonna probably stick it down by my window because I've got another humidifier down there, and we're just gonna see how it does. I'm hoping I can get it to continue to grow nicely like this, but I've just never seen one this big. I mean, it's in It's in a 10-inch pot. So I just thought that was kind of too cool to pass up. And of course, Wes was like, "Are you serious?" Like, Steven says he has one growing in a self-watering pot, bought it in a 2-inch pot and a few inches tall. It's now close to 3 feet. Wow. Okay, well, there you go. I mean, that's a good candidate for a self-watering pot then. 3 feet, that's crazy. So there's, I think, 2 or 3 different varieties of Plorendra, and one of them is like the dark thin leaves like this. One of them has thin leaves, but they've got gold, like not variegation, like a gold outline on the, what am I thinking of? What is the name for the outline of the leaf? Anyway, they're lined with like gold, and then there's like a dark leaf one that has kind of rounder, thicker leaves. Margin. I knew I'd think of it. Yeah, Stephen, how long did that take to get that big? Oh, okay. I bet that's really pretty then. Yeah, Leaf Year, like, I wish I could say that happened more for me. I just feel like I end up getting plants that grow kind of slowly. But there are definitely some vining plants where I turn around and it's been a few months and suddenly there's vines on the ground and I'm like, where did those come from? Only a couple of years. That's actually not bad. I think I did see a Plorindra once in a greenhouse, and it was at least 5 or 6 feet tall. I didn't even see how much it was being sold for because I'm like, no way, like, but yeah, these are more tree-like for anyone that's like interested in trying one. So they will get tall. They'll get taller than Schlofflera will. I can't say that. Schlofflera will actually get more wide than it will tall. It's a little bit more bushy. But every Schlofflera I've ever had ends up dropping its leaves, so I get annoyed with it. Stems start to look woody like a tree. Makes sense. It's the same with Schlofflera. Dragon Eye says my favorite plants are the ones that turn into little shop flowers exhibits with the yeah. When they start to get just a little unruly, I enjoy that quite a bit too. Let me move this out of the way. I'm gonna move this out of the way. Speaking of unruly, I want to show you guys. I showed this last time, but I know some of you are here that weren't here last time, so I want to show it again. I found a plant, I think the last week of January, we went to Kansas City and went to a few greenhouses, and they were having a sale, like 20% off. I'm like, hell yeah. And I got this interesting plant, so let me grab it. Since we're talking about unruly plants, if you were here last time, don't spoil it, but does anybody know what this is? If you want to take a guess. Nope, don't do that, Athena. It is an ivy. Athena's trying to paw at it. And it is just it's already getting to the point where it wants to just take off and do whatever it wants. Here, baby, you gotta get down. Get down. Get down. Go, go, go. So I can set this thing down. Oops. So this is an ivy. This is actually a Hedera, but this is Hedera alginensis. I think it has the term Algeria in it. It's also called it can also be called Hedera canarinensis, like the Canary Islands. So it's another species of Hedera that kind of comes from northern Africa, kind of in that region. and it is noticeably larger leaves than Hedera helix, which is the English ivy. And so far, it's actually been pretty awesome. Like it's already put out a lot of new growth. Even just in the last like 2 weeks that I've had it, I can already see it starting to just want to spread more. And I haven't really been doing much to it other than watering it, obviously. And it's been sitting on my kitchen counter, getting medium light at best. Uh, and I think it's really interesting because when we think about Hedera, we always think about English ivy and what a nightmare English ivy is because if it's not staying properly humidified or whatever, like it starts to drop those bottom leaves and then it gets spider mites and then you throw the thing out. It's just a nightmare. But like I just feel like this is a more uncommon plant, and I think I have confidence that it's going to do well. So couldn't pass it up. It's just interesting when you get another species of a plant that that you've never really heard of. What would another example be? Like like Sangonium. Most of the Sangoniums we think of are like, I'm gonna move this, are like Sangonium podophyllum. Like most of the different colors of Sangonium are all in the species Sangonium podophyllum. But there are like 2 or 3 other species of Sangonium that make good houseplants, and you just don't hear about them as much because maybe they only have one like color or something, and they're just a little harder to come by. I know there's definitely plants in my collection that I don't know the species name specifically, um, but I know all the genera. I definitely know all the genera. I wish that you could show me some of the pictures because then maybe we could help. We could collab. It's a shame that you can't post pictures in like the YouTube chat because then we could like all figure it out together. I need to move this someplace else because it is right in the way. Okay. Um, a Discord server. I would maybe be open to that. What would the, out of curiosity, what would the advantage of a Discord server be? Like, I'm not saying I don't want to because I have Discord. I don't have a server for this channel, but just out of curiosity, because I know that maybe some people, especially maybe some of the older people on the channel may not even know what Discord is. Yeah, Steven, Sangoniums are another good one because Sangonium usually come from places that are a little more moist. So that's also why they water propagate so well, is because they're used to having that extra moisture already. But they can also withstand just a little bit of drying out. I need to put that back on. The only Sangonium I have right now, I had an Albo, and I went through this whole ordeal with it, and I had it for like 2 or 3 years, and it was doing so well, and then it started to just not know what it wanted anymore. So I gave it to a friend, and he was happy. So that's good. And the one I have is actually the Ice Frost Sangonium, the one that has kind of the more rounded leaf shape, just because I thought that was interesting. Dragon Eye says, not knowing what it wants to do with myself describes most of my experience with Sangonium. Yeah. And even the one I kept, here, I'll just pull it up. Even the one I kept, it's doing fine. I mean, it has a couple of lower leaves that are kind of like crappy, but I mean the top especially is doing pretty well. And it has like those beautiful lighter colors as the leaves first come in. And yeah, I'm thinking about maybe like pruning it and like cutting it down and starting over, um, just to kind of maybe make a fuller plant. I know that eventually, Syngonium have to climb, but you can always kind of make a fuller plant and get it to climb that way too. But Discord would be useful to have a chat history, so if someone placed a plant a few weeks ago, it would be easier. That's true. Actually, I forgot that you can post pictures in Discord. Let me look into that. I'll look into that because I've had a few people request Instagram too. But Discord would also be good. Yeah, that's not a bad idea. Let me look into that. I know that you are probably the master of Discord because I know you do gaming. So, and I do some gaming, but I usually don't use Discord just because I use it for like chatting. Like I have friends in like other countries and stuff, and we use Discord to like stay in touch. And then Leaf Year could put pictures in there, and we would know how to identify the plants. I don't know. Maybe I could propagate this thing. Maybe I couldn't. The placement of the nodes is kind of interesting. Maybe I would just try one piece of it and see if I could get it to propagate. Ooh. It needs to be watered, I know that. And it could just come down to that. I may just not be watering this enough. I mean, the substrate is not too well draining, and it's not in terracotta, but I'm still probably just not watering it enough. And actually, that's my assignment for myself later tonight. After we're done here, and after I eat dinner and everything, and maybe do some gaming, I'll probably water my plants because I've gotten probably almost 10 plants just in like the past week. So I know that I need to select some plants to maybe sell or give away to some friends, just because I'm trying not to have too many because I just hate taking forever to water. It's so annoying to me. Especially when I'm trying to water late and I'm like, oh, I know they need water, but it's going to take me like an hour and a half or 2 hours. I'm just like, ugh, I don't want to do it. I said I'd get my terrarium down, so we could probably go and do that too. I want to show you guys what I did. I'm fairly impressed with the result just because I wasn't sure what to expect, but it actually worked out better than I thought. And if I end up making a bigger terrarium, I think I know exactly how I'm going to do it. Yeah, let me go and grab it. It's just heavy as hell. Like, let's see. Oh man, look at how low my humidity is. That is unacceptable. I need to get another humidifier. Okay. So this is just, I'm gonna move this back. That's what I'm gonna do. I'm gonna move this back just a little bit. Move that over. This is basically like an enclosure for like a reptile or something, and it's mostly just a glass case. It does have a little bit of ventilation on top, which I have remedied by cutting out like some plastic strips from a plastic bag and just kind of covering those rectangles. And I can adjust the humidity as I need to by like moving moving one of these off maybe, or maybe just like covering it like half so that it doesn't get too humid in there, but it stays humid, way more humid than it would otherwise. And originally I had my roaches in here and they figured out a way to get out of the holes back here. So I had to like hot glue this thing on because they had babies and there were babies all over the top of this thing. It was a mess. So, and this one has double doors that open in the front. So I can pop this open like this and kind of get in there as I need to. And what I've done, let me take some of these out. What do we have in here actually? I've got a little cane begonia because it seems to really like being more humid. It's actually getting some new growth. Dragon Eye says the roaches figure out how to get out. Yeah, it was bad. And the thing is, I didn't know that I only had two, and I didn't know that they were male and female. And one day I kind of saw like a bug moving around, like a little bug moving around in the tank, and I'm like, what is that? Did something get in there? And I lifted the little log and there was like 30 little babies under there. And I thought, oh shoot, you know, like that's not good. And so everything was fine. I'm like, well, I'll just let them get a little bigger and then maybe I'll give them to the pet store or something. And one night I was going to feed them and I couldn't find them. I'm like, where are they at? I'm digging around in there looking for them. And I had a towel draped over it so that they could have some like darkness. And I lifted the towel up and they were all under there on the towel and everything. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, this is so bad. But luckily, I think I caught all of them. Hopefully. It was in a different house. So if they get an infestation of Madagascar hissing cockroaches, I guess that's on them. Okay, let me see what else we got in here so I can show you guys what I did. I got a little rabbit's foot fern, Davallia, just because I really like the look of Davallia. I think that the fronds on these are much more elegant than just like the standard Nephrolepis. And Davallia can get pretty big. And then of course you have the rabbit's feet that kind of look like a tarantula coming out of the pot. And then I have the little, if I can get it out of there. I have a little anthurium, and I don't know what kind of anthurium this is because somebody gave it to me as a cutting. It does have a new leaf coming in right there. So I don't know, that's kind of cool. I don't really like anthuriums. Oh, it smells like a terrarium too. I love that. Let me see. I don't understand why Tranceless foot fern never called. Or spider's foot fern, or something that would, you know, be a little more accurate. They don't look like rabbit's feet at all. Some bugs are a no, but I do have kind of an interest in insects. I actually went to the pet store the other day looking for a millipede, which isn't technically an insect, but is it? I don't think it is. But millipedes are really easy to take care of, and I think they're really neat. But they didn't have the kind that I wanted, so anyway. I also have my big maidenhair fern, and it looks like it's getting some new growth on the top a little bit, and it seems like it's just loving it, although interestingly enough there is like yellow liquid on the side, so I don't really know what that's about, but I don't know, it's doing pretty well. It's actually getting a little bit bigger. Man, it is pretty wet though. That's kind of crazy. Soil's still pretty good. So the way I did this, let me set this down. I am totally out of room. the way I did this is I have those little pots sitting on a saucer, and this isn't terracotta, so it doesn't really soak up liquid like terracotta does because it's glazed. And I have that sitting on a terracotta saucer at the bottom, and then I filled the bottom in with like lava rock, and and then I've put just some water in the bottom. So basically, the lava rock is going to kind of wick that moisture into the air and like help keep it nice and humid in there. And these are on terracotta saucers so that like the terracotta can get wet, but it won't absorb into this. So the plants don't stay wet all the time, but they will stay humid all the time. So I don't know. It's just something I'm trying. It's been working out so far. The only problem, like I said, is that I don't have a ton of room in this. I mean, eventually, this one fern could, take up this whole tank. But, um, you know, just something different. There's so many different ways to make terrariums, and I just wanted to kind of figure out my own way. Uh, I mean, some of you guys have probably seen that picture of that guy that has that closed globe terrarium, and he's had it for like 60 years or something, and it just keeps like self growing and populating. I don't know. That's beyond my beyond my expertise, I guess. But yeah, if this continues to go well, like if I can maintain this until like some of these plants have to actually be moved out of it, I might consider getting a bigger tank and doing something like this again, because this is very rudimentary in the sense that like you can really fancy it up to where you have like backgrounds and like rocks and stuff, and maybe there's just so many creative avenues you can take with it, and it can really be something that is kind of a showstopper, like something like this maybe on like a kitchen counter or like in a den or something. People walk in and they're like, wow, that's beautiful. It's basically like you brought nature literally from the outside in. And I don't know, something to consider, similar to an aquarium, only not a bunch of water. But my aquarium is doing okay. My fish is still alive, all my plants are still alive. I would show you guys that, but that thing weighs a ton. I think my principal concern right now with this terrarium though is I don't want there to be like a growth problem. Like, I don't want there to start being like mold or fungus or something. So I'm trying to be careful of that. But other than that, I don't know. It seems like it's going well. Terrarium jar that I tried to put stuff in a few years ago, but it all died. Oh, yeah. And if you go to a greenhouse, you see all those little they're in like a little 1 inch pot, those little tiny plants. I mean, yeah, those are cute and everything. And you can make a pretty small terrarium with them, but they take up more room than you realize. And then they start to get big. Like I've seen some of those small plants will be like a Camadoria palm. I'm like, it's a palm. Like that thing's gonna get tall. I mean, it's not gonna take very long either. But I'm a little interested right now though, because like I was looking this maidenhair fern. I mean, why is the water yellow? Like I don't know why it's like, I don't know. It doesn't smell bad. It doesn't. Did you guys think I was gonna drink that? Bottoms up. But yeah, this will definitely be something that I keep you guys posted about. Like I'll kind of update you guys as I change it or try something different. Um, like I said, that anthurium, I don't know where it went to. I just don't know if I want it. I mean, it was just kind of a little present, and I don't know. The problem is too, it's like it's a little bit. It's already getting kind of wide, and it's taking up valuable space in here. So let me see if I can move this out of the way. I think these are lava rocks. I actually don't know for sure if they are. but they're keeping it humid. That's all that matters. Oh, okay. Oh, thank you, Leafier. Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. We're just not used to seeing it because usually the water's already gone by then. You think it's leca, Steven? Leca? I mean, let me get one of these out for you. It's just these little tiny balls. And I mean, I can like, if I squeeze it hard enough, it'll bust and it just kind of turns to dust. But I don't think water is going to dissolve them necessarily. I guess water is the universal solvent, but where did that plant go? Right there. Yeah, I just don't know. I might actually just go and keep this out of there because I just don't think I want it. But I know that somebody will take this though, so I'm just gonna keep it out. So I can keep one of these out, and I can keep one of these out. Ooh. If I'd known I was gonna be doing this, I would have brought a towel. That's okay. I try to evenly distribute them like in the terrarium so that it almost just looks like the ground. That's a good idea too, turkey baster. I mean, the water in the bottom right now is kind of intentional, just because the air is so dry right now with my central heater. But you know, I may adjust how much water I actually add over time. The thing that turned me off of terrariums for a long time was the idea that you had to like actually have dirt in there and like plant plants in the dirt and keep the dirt from getting nasty and blah 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 blah. I mean, you can still do that, and that's a viable option, especially if you want it to look a lot more like realistic. But for me, I like having the plants still in their pots so that I can still custom care for each plant individually without affecting the other plants. Like, I like having that customization with it. It may not look as natural or as pretty, but it is still interesting, right? Steven says, Leca is expanded clay and looks like a lot like volcanic rock, just not as jagged. Oh, okay. Oh, yeah, then it's probably Leca because it's way too round probably to be lava rock. And that was just a bag of stuff I got. I think people use it in aeroid mixes, if I'm not mistaken. But I just had a random bag of it laying around, so I thought, well, I'll put that to use. Let me see here. Let's put you in the back. Oh, that thing is gonna get ridiculously big if I can keep it alive. And we're gonna put this right here. And we're gonna put the begonia back here. I mean, this begonia is already kind of too big for this, honestly. Look, I'm trying to find a good way to get it to fit. Wait, there we go. This will be better. It is really pretty. Okay, and I'm gonna actually open that up a little bit more so it has a little more ventilation. Okay. Now if I can just get this thing back up there. I feel like that placement too, because the grow light is just out of frame. It's probably like right there. The grow light isn't a good spot for that just because it's not like right on top of it. Because most plants that are going to have to go in a terrarium are probably not getting direct sun at any point. So, you know, having that less intense light, but where it's still kind of bright, is good for them. Um, but definitely not direct sun. There, that works. Ugh. What else? What else would you guys like to see? You guys got any? Like plant requests? Like if you want me to, I might have a plant that you want to see what I have. Like if you really love a certain plant, you want to see if I have it. I take requests. Or if you want to see my roaches, they're doing well. I know it's tough to find time to do that, to rearrange and everything. I finally rearranged here a few months ago because I used to have my succulent rack right here. You've probably seen it in some of my old videos, and my regular rack here. And I moved my succulent rack down into the living room because there just wasn't enough room up here. And I just wanted to have things divided up a little bit better. But right now I'm going through a phase where I'm really getting into bigger plants, and I'm less impressed by like smaller plants. So like I bought that Plurendra because I've never seen one that's that size before. And I don't know, I just feel like certain, I guess that's not even a big plant, that's like a medium plant. But you know, I'm just impressed with kind of the statement that like medium to large plants make. I mean, is that mad scientist? I don't know. It's like, let's say, okay, here, let's take this for example. Let's say that I've got this cordyline, and let's say a month from now, I find a cordyline that's just like this, only it's 2 feet tall and in a 10-inch pot. I'm probably gonna buy it and get rid of this one and just skip ahead a little bit so that I can have a bigger one. I don't know. I don't know why. There is something to be said for growing something from very small and enjoying it over the years and watching it get bigger. And I appreciate that with some plants. Some plants, I'm just ready for them to be big already. Steven says, I won't tell my husband that you inspired me to do a terrarium, but I have a 55-gallon tank just sitting in storage. Ooh, 55 gallons, that's so big. The question is, do you have a place to stick something like that? I mean, 55 gallons is large, but I mean, if you have a place and you can kind of keep it to where it won't be kind of ugly, you know what I mean? Like maybe you have a room that you can kind of play in a little bit until you figure out exactly like what you want to do with it, and then you can put it someplace that's more like central so people can see the hard work you did. Me, I never have company, so oh, I'm so jealous. I would love to have a room like that, like just a sunroom where you can just have like more plants and just make it look very, very appealing. Um, Alas, I do not. Yeah, playroom, mad science lab, it's all the same. Is the Super Bowl still on? Kansas City, I know, is in it, and I figure if it's over, they probably didn't win because I would have heard fireworks and gunshots by now. Agreed. That's why I'm here. Let's see. Oh, damn. They're getting owned. I've seen purple ones. I don't know. Like the ones I've seen of Cordyline are like purple and pink, but like purple and red. That wouldn't surprise me if there was something like that too. What was I? Oh yeah. What the heck, man? Booyah. Okay. Do. There we go. And that. I was just talking with a friend actually recently about Dracaena. Um, Dracaena is really interesting. Well, it's interesting because obviously snake plants are in Dracaena now, but like there are some Dracaena that grow and they almost just look like a really thin little stalk and then a big pom-pom on top of it. But then some Dracaena actually get tall like that and they have like longer leaves, but the leaves don't fall off on the bottom. Like the whole plant keeps all of its leaves and it doesn't look as like thin. And it's kind of tough to figure out which ones do what. So I don't know. I just have one Dracaena and it's like a snake plant, but a lot of times you may not see cordyline sold until like spring or summer, just because a lot of people like to keep them on their porch. They do need a decent amount of light, and they don't. I mean, they make okay house plants as long as you're giving them plenty of light, but they're not like the first line of like easy plants to take care of by any means. And usually things that are a little bit more exotically colored are like that. Like they don't um, they don't adapt as well to like indoor lighting. Is a lemon lime dracaena? Is it the one that has the like the long yellow leaves and they're kind of that chartreuse neon color? Mm. Yeah, I mean they can grow as a house plant. You just got to give them, you just got to baby them just a little bit. Dragonite says I've never seen what the tree dracaena in the wild. I can't help but feel like Daramensis would be more of a tree outdoors. Daramensis. Let me look it up. Let me remember what that is. La 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 la. Why is it like that? Dracena daramensis. Oh, okay. Uh, well, is that the one I was talking about? No, 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 no. That one, that one might be the one. Sometimes you see them sold as yucca. Like I've seen, or at least cane plants, if nothing else. Like I know there's a species of Dracaena that is sold as kind of a cane, similar to yucca, but not yucca, which we didn't do on this channel. We kind of skipped over yucca, but it's okay. I don't understand. I don't understand the point of yucca. Like the way they like saw off the cane. I think it's so it looks more tree-like, but well, in cordyline, I don't know if you can prune that or not. Because there's some plants, if you prune the top off of them, it kills them. So, yeah. I'm trying to think. Like sometimes when we do these things, I try to keep you guys appraised of like wish list plants. And right now, I would like to find a Fatsia, but they're kind of hard to find just because they're not super easy to take care of. I can think of one greenhouse I can go to that might have some. I just don't know when I'm going to be able to go. But and then Lowe's has a Camadoria palm, and I think it's just a regular like is it elegans? I think is the species. It's like $22, and it's at least 3 or 4 feet tall, and that's a for a palm that's like $22. That's not Ravinia because Ravinias don't do very well indoors. Um, I don't know. It's a pretty good deal, so I'm thinking about buying it. But uh, Leafier says yucca grow wild in Texas. I'm not a fan of them unless they're well landscaped. That makes sense because they are succulent-ish, and Texas would be Texas would be a good environment for them. Yeah, I think that they just look better outdoors. They look more natural, I guess. The way that they're kind of I don't know. I just don't like cane plants indoors. It just doesn't look good to me. They look too fake somehow. I don't know. They send them to us too. Like they send them to us at work and they don't sell until they get marked down to like $2 and then they sell. But nobody's gonna buy those for $20. It's just not worth it. I was just looking at my um, the Camadoria I have is actually Camadoria metallica, and it's doing well. Like it's probably doing better than most of my other palms. I'm just really impressed with it. Oh, also, while I have you guys here, we did the video on taxonomy, and the next couple of videos are probably gonna involve a mixture of like plant science and like some random stuff. I want to do a plant anatomy video. A lot of people may not know some of the terminology, and it's not a bad thing to know. For example, what is a node? Well, if you're talking about maybe propagating a vining plant, it's good to know what the node is, and it's good to know what the internode is. Things like that. Easy things. We're not going to get too crazy technical, but I would like to make that video. And then another science video I would like to do kind of a physiology kind of thing. Will it might be on the test. I can't tell you what will be on the test. Um, YouTube does have those quizzes, though. I could put questions. I don't know. Um, but like physiology, like going a little more into like photosynthesis and kind of how plants grow and stuff. Did Wes yell my name? What? Guess not. Um, just a few things. Basically, it's almost like ninth grade biology in a sense. Like we don't want to go too crazy. Like in my plant classes in college, they went deep. Like they went for it. When you start talking about like the chemical formula for photosynthesis and how the transfer of adenosine triphosphate to adenosine diphosphate and blah 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 blah. Like it's just that gets really super technical. But I mean, it's interesting. It's just maybe not always for like the average, you know, plant person. Leafier wants a T-shirt with Back to the Future type font, but with succulents to say we're. You don't need no. That'd be a good one, actually. Has anybody made that? Maybe I'll make that. I'm trying to get the T-shirt. We're trying to get some T-shirts available for you guys to buy. We're really close. We've got like the shop ready and everything. We just need to get some stock and some designs and stuff. So kind of be looking for that. Just because I don't know, it'd be nice to have some merch a little bit, right? But yeah. what else was I saying? Oh, another video I want to do kind of soon is a fruit and kind of a fruit video, kind of talking about the different types of fruits and like, because I know a lot of people actually grow fruits and stuff indoors, and you guys are kind of into that, kind of the what would that be called? Well, whatever, growing your own food, and it's really interesting when you start seeing how certain fruits are related to each other, and it gives me an excuse to go buy fruit at the grocery store since I normally don't buy fruit, which I probably should, but yeah. And we always think of fruit as being like grocery store stuff, you know, Dragonite, I know you're into that. But there's also dry fruits that are outside, like, you know, acorns. And there's a really cool fruit called a schizocarp, you know, that's a dry fruit. It just doesn't have that fleshy, wet interior. Um, I don't know. It's kind of interesting stuff. And then you can go tell random people, did you know that apples are actually in the rose family? Or was it berries? Or no, apple's a berry. Something else is in the rose family, but and actually you guys have been talking about citrus, and I'm just like, maybe this summer I'll get a citrus tree and see what I can do with it. Comes home with a massive basket of fruit from the produce aisle. Uh, he would just be like, "You're gonna eat all that, right?" And that's all he would say. I did buy some blood oranges, but yeah. Well, there's Sylv. Where has Sylv been this whole time? Have you been lurking in the wings? Which one was actually a berry? Maybe it was an apple that was a berry. There was something else that was like, how is that a berry? It's not even kind of the same. Was it an I don't remember. If it wasn't apples, it was something. Well, in your defense, that's what I should be doing, is watering plants. Maybe it was banana. I think it was banana. Watermelons are berries too. Oh, okay. Tomatoes are berries. Didn't know that. And some people that aren't even into plants, like their mind is blown when I'm like, hey, a lot of the things that you consider vegetables are actually fruits, like peppers and squash and beans and tomatoes. Like, you know what I mean? Like, those are not vegetables. If you pick it off of a plant, it's a fruit. If you eat the plant itself, it's a vegetable. See, there you go. There's some of the terminology that we could talk about. Accessory fruits. There's also aggregate fruits. There's another one. Is it compound? I don't remember. I haven't studied some of that in a while, so I'm gonna have to brush up myself. But yeah, I think a pineapple is an aggregate fruit where all of the flowers, the ovaries grow together into like one big thing. And ooh, pineapple sounds really good. I wonder if I have any pineapple. That sounds good. Compound. Okay, Sylv's got me. It's compound. Aggregate fruit, I think, might be like raspberries or blackberries. One of those, I think, is aggregate. There's a very specific thing that happens as it becomes a fruit, and that determines whether it's one or the other. I just don't remember which one. And let's not forget about, okay, good, thank you. And let's not forget about drupes and hesperidians. I think the citrus are hesperidians, right? Correct me if I'm wrong. I'm so glad that I have Sylv here to correct me. Because I swear, like, sometimes I'll make a video and I'm like, okay, if I forget something or I mess something up, I know that most of the time Sylv and Christian will have my back. Yeah, drupe is fun. Drupes are the ones that are like avocados, right? They have the big pit in the middle, or apricots. I think that's a drupe. Boy, it's been so long since I've studied some of this. It's crazy. Partying like it's 2015. It's been 10 years since I was in college. Oh, really? Okay. I didn't know that. But a droop, or I mean, I'm sorry, uh, an apricot, I think, is a droop. Isn't a plum a droop too? Oh, okay. Yeah, 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 yeah. See, I love that you guys are nerds like me. That makes me so happy. And sometimes I'm like, sometimes I get nervous. Maybe not nervous, but sometimes I'm hesitant to make certain videos because I'm like, well, maybe that's not directly relevant to houseplants, but I mean, I suppose the channel is called Bane's Botanicals, which could encompass a lot of things, not just houseplants, but that is our main focus on the channel is houseplants. But plant science in general is fascinating. Um, well, we were talking about dry fruits a few minutes ago, but honestly, I don't remember a ton of their names. The only one I really remember is schizocarp, just because I love that name. But I know that like acorns are one type. I think schizocarp are the little whirly birds. Um, but if you want to drop a couple names in, that's that's gonna refresh my memory. Yeah, Stephen, it's tough though because there's just some plants, especially food-bearing plants, in order to get them to fruit, it's really difficult because you need so much light. Because creating those flowers and those fruits takes a ton of energy, and it's not always feasible to do that indoors. That's usually why people have like patio plants during the summer and they can like grow stuff. But I wish that there were more things like that. If you could just somehow have an indoor, garden that just grows more than just like seasonings. Leafier loves nerdy content. Good. It does. Either 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 Magikarp or like if Magikarp and Shizor or Scizor, however you say it, if they had like a Pokemon child. Um, Maple Winged Seed Samara. Okay. Samara. Yeah, that sounds familiar. Ish. Hmm. Lemon tree is growing so fast indoors. No, no, Leafier, it's fine because that's motivating me to want to get like either a lemon tree or a lime tree and just try growing it indoors. Even if it doesn't fruit, it would still be cool. But I have a feeling once it got to be so big, if I stuck it outside during the summer, it would actually fruit, hopefully. We've got like berry bushes in at work right now. We just got them in, and I'm tempted to get a couple. Of course, you can't really grow those indoors, but just for spring, it would be nice to have maybe a couple of berry bushes planted outside. Is that a cat I'm touching? Okay. I put my foot up on the chair and I touched something. I was like, what is that? Um, Actual strawberries. That's a good question. I know that the woodier plants, like, I'm pretty sure when people plant blueberry bushes and stuff that they survive. I don't know about strawberries specifically. For a second, I thought you said wild strawberries. I don't know if you've ever been out in a yard and seen like the little red berries that grow out of the soil. Um, I think you can actually eat those. Yeah, see, yeah, so that's what I was thinking of. Like, I know wild strawberries can. I just don't know about like the ones you would actually get from the store. The big windows, the big windows by my fireplace face east. Yeah, they face east because they get morning sun. It's kind of surprising. It's kind of surprising what plants can actually survive out in the cold like that. Um, I mean, I've told the story before about my mom keeping like opuntia cacti alive outdoors. She just covered them, and part of it was like the heat from the house kind of kept them a little bit warmer. But I don't know, it's just crazy. You would not think those would be able to survive, but they did. It's all cute and everything until you're a little kid and you run into that crap. Hi, Merlin. Oh, hi, Merlin. I'm gonna see if I can stealthily grab Merlin before he runs off. Hi, Merles. Come here. Come here. Oh, there's my big boy. Oh, there's a big boy. Come here. Come here, you big fluff. Hi. Hi, Merlin. He's like, why are you holding me? Oh, yes. Hi, big boy. Oh, you are so fluffy. My goodness. My goodness, you are so fluff. Oh, careful. Don't knock this over. Cats. Okay, it's fine. Hang on, let me catch up on comments. Bare succulents outside that are still alive. Because it gets cold in Texas sometimes. The old days of me throwing a ball with my sister in the backyard and one of us goes straight into the rose bush. Ugh. Oof. No thanks. uh, actually, so kind of relevant to that. I don't know, I don't remember if my mom had rose bushes or not, but we had a pond, and on one side of the pond, over the years, somehow there'd been a bunch of briars that grew. I don't really know what kind of plant it was. It wasn't roses, but I remember running through there as a kid and just coming out like completely scraped up, and it was just bad news. I've never tried growing roses from seed. The only things I've grown from seed are just the simple, like novelty things. Like I grew chamomile from seed. Um, I grew like a sunflower from seeds, but nothing substantial like that. I do have a packet of cacti seeds, which I actually kind of want to plant. But I'm gonna wait till spring when it's a little bit warmer and see if I can get them to last. But yeah, and it's just a mixture of cacti, and they'll take forever to grow. But I don't know, it'll still be fun. Maybe, maybe Dragonite will lend me a milk carton. No, don't come back over here. Don't do that. No, don't do that. I think the big question is what's for dinner? Like, what is for dinner? I don't know if Wes is watching this, but I'm getting hungry. Maybe he'll cook. Sylv, you showed up late. I could show you some of the plants we were talking about earlier. Stephen, I've had oxalis in the past. I like oxalis as kind of a novel, not maybe not novelty plant, but I like it as kind of a temporary house plant. I'm kind of surprised I didn't put that when I made that video. Oxalis is a good one. Um, the only thing I don't The only thing I don't like about oxalis is that it does sometimes go into kind of a hard dormancy where like it almost looks dead, and I don't know. I think they're really cool as plants. I think they're fascinating, but it's just not like something I'm interested in actually having. I love the way that their leaves fold in and everything, and the flowers are really interesting. It's just I don't know, but I mean I like them. You see, it'd be cool to live someplace where I could grow it outside. That's what I would do. I would have it outside. See, and that's where I'm at too. Like, I just feel like the oxalis I've ever had have always died. You know, don't mess with that. Stop that. Merlin. I need to. I don't know. I hate when we were talking earlier about how like all these stores have been getting these massive shipments of houseplants. And I love it, but I also hate it because it just makes me want to buy more. And it's tough just because I mean, I have room, but I just don't want to have that much responsibility for all of these different plants. But yeah, it took us a while to decide on a name for the cat, but we've always kind of gone with like mythological names. Whew, excuse me. And we did like Greek and we did Egyptian, and I just kind of wanted to go like medieval, so we did Merlin. I couldn't think of a good Roman name. Like none of the Roman names really speak to me. So we had like Osiris and we had Icarus and Athena. Yeah, and it's gonna vary. It's gonna vary store to store with Walmart anyway, based on like the size of the store as far as what they're supposed to get shipped. So like the biggest store in town here is actually one of the biggest stores in the company, and they have a really small section for plants, like maybe 2 tables. And my store is like one of the smallest in at least in the city, and we get a ton. I mean, I showed you guys that short the other day of when I was unboxing those plants. We have a ton of space for house plants. So I don't know. It just depends. We did get a pretty good shipment in, which is where I got that Plurindra from. But Lowe's and Home Depot had a ton of stuff too. Yeah, Steven, I downloaded the Planta app, but I noticed that you really have to like pay for it to like unlock its full potential. And I'm not saying that I wouldn't do that at some point, but at the moment, my allocated money for paying for cell phone apps is kind of tied up with Spanish. So I need to go through and count mine again. I think I'm pushing 70, and I was really trying to get down to like 59. But all these new plants have been coming through, and it's hard not to want to buy them. And even plants that I've like had trouble with before, like Home Depot still had some of those pink Camelaminas that I made a little short about. I'm just looking at them. I'm like, they're so pretty, but I know better than to buy those. Yeah, yeah, the cuttings make sense. Well, and like if I have multiple plants in like one pot, I only count that as one plant. Or like all those terrarium plants, I only count that as like one thing to manage. It's not like I'm trying to manage, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know. I think we're just crazy plant people, but it's fine. I wish I could give you guys some of my plants. Like, I'd be like, here you go, have some of this. I'm going to share the wealth. I don't even count my cuttings as plants. Like most of this third shelf is just cuttings. I don't even count them. Like let's say I'm gonna do some cuttings off of like a philodendron. I mean, I'll water prop or something, and then I'll put them in a pot and I'll get them started, and then I'll just give them away. Like and like it takes such a short amount of time to water a cutting, just like bloop splash. I just don't count it. But a bigger plant, you have to sit there for 5 minutes waiting on the thing to drain out the bottom, and it's just, I don't know. Yes, yes, we're passionate. We're not mad scientists. We are passionate. There you go. I like that one better. I like happy scientists better. The next time, so I work tomorrow and I work Tuesday, and then I'm off Wednesday. I'm trying to think when I'm gonna have time to go because I really would. I want to show you guys all the plants that came in these places because it's actually kind of crazy. Um, Maybe I could go Tuesday night, and maybe I'll do like I don't know if I'll do an actual video, if I'll do just like a short. Um, but yeah, I don't know. There's just so many different things that I've just had not seen before, like that Hoya, like this. I thought this was such a cool find to find this Hoya because I've just never heard of it, and I think it's really pretty. And I'm a sucker for stuff like that. Um, when a soda comes out with a new flavor, or you see like candy, like they just came out with peanut butter and jelly M&Ms, and I saw those, and I'm like, get them. We're buying them. Like I'm that guy that just buys stuff that's interesting like that. Those were not very good. If you haven't had them yet, they don't have enough flavor for me. I think peanut butter M&Ms taste better than the peanut butter and jelly ones. But anyway, I'm getting hungry. Like y'all are just making me want food. I don't know what sounds good though. Maybe a quesadilla. I did props for like I do them for my friends. I did some props for my brother once, and they didn't survive, but the snake plant I gave him did survive, and I think it was actually a snake plant I got for like nothing at Lowe's because they were being like marked down or whatever, and they looked a little rough, but he's kept them alive. I think I got those for him. I think I was living in my first house, so it's probably been 5 or 6 years ago. Yeah, the lemon Oreos are really good. If I have to pick a favorite Oreo, I think golden Oreos just by themselves are probably my favorite. And I remember when they came out with that. I don't know if you guys remember some of that, but it just blew my mind. I was just like, vanilla Oreos? Are you kidding me? That's amazing. Those Coca-Cola ones were not that good. I don't know if you had those, Sylv, but they had like Pop Rocks in them. I didn't think they were that good. They were okay. Like some things are good to try once and like you can appreciate them, and then it's like, nah. Yeah, Dragonite. They were like maroon colored cookies, and they were Coca-Cola flavored, and they had Pop Rocks in the middle. I don't know why, but it was really weird to dunk them in milk and have those things popping. But Leafier says, I finally repotted my alocasia and got 3 corms. Hopefully they will grow, not because I need more alocasia, but because science, yeah. I'm impressed that you have an alocasia that's alive. Alocasias are not easy to take care of. At least not keeping them alive well. Bootleg Rice Krispies, right? I have a friend that has to be gluten-free, and she always has trouble finding stuff. I don't know if she actually likes those or not. I haven't asked her, but... Yeah. Yeah, Steven. See, that's me. I'm the same way. And I don't drink soda as much anymore, just because most soda has caffeine in it. So, like, I'm not supposed to have caffeine because of my heart, but, um, like Mountain Dew would always come out with, like, that new flavor every year. I love Code Red Mountain Dew. It's so good. No, don't mess with that. Quit. Quit. Get down. Pepsi Blue was really good too. I don't know if you guys remember that, but I loved Pepsi Blue. I would drink that now. Hell with it. Hell with the caffeine. I would drink a Pepsi Blue right now. Did you get a good look at them? Did you see how thick these things are? I have astigmatism, and um, they diffract the light from like yeah, well, they're strong. I have astigmatism and I'm nearsighted. So astigmatism is just where your eyeballs are not perfectly round. They're like slightly like football shaped, I guess. Um, but yeah. And I'll wear my contacts sometimes. Like for some of the videos, I'll wear my contacts, but in general, I don't wear my contacts just because they dry out. I feel like they dry out so fast. But if I'm going to like, I don't know, some sort of special thing, which is not very often, I'll wear my contacts. But even when I make the videos, I put them in to make the video and then I take them out right after because I'm like, get these things out of my eyes. Like, I would say getting old sucks, but my eyes have been like this forever, since like 5th grade. And the teacher was like, read the thing that's on the board. And I'm just like, I can't. And actually being in your 30s is a lot of fun. I don't care what they say. Like 30s is that nice middle ground between like you're not like getting like too old yet, but you're older than, you know, being in like your teens and 20s and you start to just not give a crap. And that's a lot of fun. It's a lot of fun not to care about things. Like things that people say and, you know, blah 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 blah, like who cares? Well, thank you, Leaf Year. This is how I am most of the time. I think I look better without glasses, but that's just me. I don't think I look better enough without glasses to wear my contacts, if that tells you anything. So, Um, what else? I'll probably, like I said, I'll probably go to those stores either Monday or Tuesday evening. But the thing is, like, they close at 9, and I don't get off work till 8, so it may actually have to wait until like Wednesday. And then I'm gonna try to get at least one video out this week, if not two. We'll just kind of see how that goes. Um, we're definitely not gonna do 3 a week anymore now that I got through the plant list. But we're probably gonna go down to like 2, maybe sometimes 1, if it's like a big video. Um, but yeah. What was I gonna say? There was something else I was gonna say. Yeah, we're working on the t-shirt shop, and I need to get, like, I got my Instagram back, like, rolling, and I just need to kind of do, I need to start uploading pictures to it. I've been really bad about that, but I've been thinking about it. And then Dragonite had suggested a Discord server where you guys could like share pictures and we could have like a chat history. So if anybody has like problems with the plant, or if they need help identifying the plant, or they just want to show off the plant, we could like join up there. Um, just because our community is still pretty small, you know what I mean? Like, I think that there's probably a core group of maybe 20 or 30 people that either consistently show up to these or that consistently comment. And it would just be nice to kind of have a place where we can kind of share and everything. So yeah, that's something I'm looking at. I don't know who else has heard of Discord, if you guys are gamers. Oh, I heard fireworks. Is the Super Bowl over, or are they just wasting them? I don't know. But yeah, like I've always said that I'm open to suggestions of what you guys want. If you guys are wanting certain things, if you're wanting to see certain videos, if you're wanting to talk about certain topics, I'm always open to that. Not that I don't have my own list, I do. Um, oh, okay, so they lost. There's gonna be all sorts of pissed off people at work tomorrow. That's fine. Yeah, well, hey, if I bought a bunch of fireworks, I'd probably set them off too. Oh, I didn't even think about that. You're right, they probably were just Eagles fans. There are Eagles fans here, believe it or not. It's crazy how big of a deal it is. I have a friend that lives in Argentina, and I mean, he knows what the Super Bowl is, but I'm like, it's like some sort of like national holiday here. Fortunately, my cats are well behaved for the most part. Um, Merlin has been copying what the older cats do. Uh, so if I catch him trying to pick up some of their bad habits, I'm like, no, we don't do that. Like the girl cats, they have this thing for plastic. So like if I leave plastic down or something, or like the shower curtain, like I'll catch them chewing on it, and I'll stop that. Well, um, they were chewing on something I left on the ground, and Merlin comes up and starts sniffing it. I'm like, nope, we're not doing that. We're not getting into that. Yeah, I've heard gunshots too sometimes. Not very often, but sometimes. Also, also, sometime this week, I might do a video there this week actually. I want to go to the zoo and go to the rainforest dome because I'm starting to get like overdue for like some greenery, right? Like I need to go there and just like hang out for like an hour and just kind of soak in like nature, because I'm just getting so sick of winter, and it's supposed to snow again this week, and I'm just like, ugh. So if I go there, I'll definitely make a video there so that you guys can see some of the plants and stuff there. Um, and every year it's a little bit different because they sometimes they put different things in there, and sometimes they prune things back, and it's just, I don't know, it's interesting. Yeah, there must be Eagles fans because there's like fireworks going off. Yeah, it's so annoying, Dragonite. Oh, it's so annoying. Ugh. And it's really annoying when that happens in March because it'll be like March 20 something and it's technically spring and then it snows. And I'm like, wait a minute, there's like buds on the trees. Like, why is it still snowing? Daffodils, will be popping up and it'll be snowing. And that's like the first big sign of spring is when you start seeing daffodils. Those are like the very first things to flower. Your neighborhood must be full of Chiefs fans. Yeah, that too. It's funny, Dragonite, because like right out in my driveway, if I do the Discord server, I'll start posting pictures too. But like right out in my driveway, there is some ivy, and it's got to be Hedera helix, like growing in kind of this like little like garden area, and it's still green, and it's like the only thing that's green. And other than when it gets really cold, like down to 0, it stays green all winter long, and it just kind of blows me away. Like, how is that still green? It even snowed. It was a blizzard here at the beginning of the year, and it's still green. I don't know. But then some Hedera helix, you bring it inside, and then it gets spider mites and dies. Whatever. Yeah, it's frustrating. I wonder why. Like there's got to be one factor that's like at work there. I mean, I think that the ivies that we see outside are probably just hardier varieties too. I mean, think about some of the variegated ivies you see. Most of those are not ones you see outside. At least not that I see. Like the ones I see outside are that solid green. They usually have a thicker leaf. Um, because a lot of the ivies we have indoors are like more delicate varieties, I guess. I don't know. Exactly. And then it's gone. I like green and white variegation too, Steven. Um, Also, leaf year, I'd be curious what kind of ivy it was, like specifically. Uh, but yeah, green and white's my thing. I don't really like green and yellow. I just associate yellow with like sickly, even though I know it's supposed to look like that. Like Lowe's tonight had some really beautiful painted lady philodendrons, and they're very pretty. I like the long leaves and everything, but it's yellow, and I just don't like the color yellow in general. It's just I don't know as I wear it on my shirt. Um, but yeah, I don't know. I also like when some plants have like that silver green color to them. I think that silvery green is really pretty. Yeah, exactly. So, um, we've got about 4 more minutes here, and I'll probably wrap it up just because I'm getting hungry. Uh, do you guys have anything else you want to say before I kind of get going here? If you have any other questions, any other suggestions, um, we're gonna go ahead and wrap it up soon, just because I need to eat and I need to water my plants. But we'll probably do another one of these in 2 weeks. Unless something really crazy exciting happens and I just have to talk to you guys next weekend, it'll probably be 2 weeks. And like I said, we're gonna do. If I don't do the rainforest dome this week, I'll do it next week. It just kind of depends on the weather, and yeah, just be looking for those science videos because those are coming up. I don't eat meat, but cheese pizza does sound good. And yeah, leaf year. I figured it didn't have variegation. We were talking about that earlier about how I feel like plants in nature generally don't have variegation just because they weed that out. But um, yeah. Also Dragonite. If, if if you're still here, yeah, you're still here. You just said something earlier. I will ask Wes about the Discord, what the best way to do that is, because he's the tech guy. So, um, yeah, because I like that idea actually, and then I'll just start posting that on the channel, so that if people want to come join the Discord, they can. Just keep it friendly, of course, and respectful. Yeah, basically, family tech support, exactly. When people personify their plants, giving them pronouns and individual names. Oh yeah, I know a few people that name their plants. I thought about it, but I'm like, if I can identify what plant it is, that's their name for me. But I used to name the trees in our backyard though when I was a kid. I'm almost done, and then I want to have dinner. Um, Morningstar Farms makes some good veggie burger patties. I like their. I've tried the like plant-based chicken. It's decent. It's kind of dry, but it's not bad. Oh, see, that's the perfect, yeah, Sylve, exactly. Especially cacti, the ones that start to just kind of look the same, but like giving them actual names. This is this is Adam, and he's a nice little, he's a nice little echino. I about said echinodorus. That's not a cactus. What am I thinking of? Echinocactus. There is an echinocactus, I think. Hmm. All right. Oh, Air Jordan. I like that. I like that one. But I'm not a fan of air plants. Talanzi and I don't really get along. All right, you guys. Thank you so much. Thank you so much for coming and hanging out with me. I actually love doing this. That's why I've been trying to do it more regularly because I really like hanging out with you guys. Even though I can't see you guys, you can see me and we can actually talk live. And I really like that. And you guys seem to like it too, so we're going to keep doing it. Um, we'll come up with some other things we can do. You know, if you guys have any ideas of what you want to do on a live stream, let me know. But usually I just have all kinds of plants to show you guys. Or we start talking about random things like bugs and cats and yeah. But anyway, have a good week, and I will see you guys very soon. Thank you. Gee, I can never get this thing to work. There we go.